Once there lived a king who was wanting to encourage all the arts and artisans of his kingdom, and he wanted to see their talents. So he invited on a given day all the people of his country, his kingdom, and asked them to come and perform in front of him. So he has been suitably rewarding them based on their exhibit of talents. There was a magician who also came there and observing all these things. But one thing what he has seen is, before him there were so many magicians who came and then performed. And he thought he should do something very different to impress the king. So when his turn came, with his magical power, he made the king's crown to vanish from that place. And without the crown, the king looked very different, and everybody in the palace started laughing at him. King felt so insulted, and immediately he ordered that this person should be sent into the prison, and on 7th day he should be beheaded, because he insulted me, removing my crown from my head. This magician thought the king will really appreciate when such a big thing has happened, but to his surprise, he was put into prison. But he didn't lose himself, he was always composed. And next day, hearing that her husband is in prison, magician's wife came to see him. She was in all grief and was crying that he would be beheaded in 7 days. But the magician was very happy, and he said, "Don't worry, there are 7 more days to go. Anything can happen. So be relaxed, be happy for the day." So next day also she came, he repeated the same. 6 days are there, don't worry, something will happen and I'll come out. So it went on for 6 days. 7th day came, and this magician was crying at that time. The king heard all these things, and he was surprised to know why all these 6 days this magician was laughing and consoling his wife, and 7th day he is crying. So he was very surprised, and he wanted to come and check with this magician. Then he came and asked this magician, "Why is it that you are crying?" "My dear king, I am not crying because I will be beheaded, I will die. But only thing, with all the studies I had on magic, I was trying to make my horse fly. 2 years of training was over, and only 1 more year is left for the horse to fly. And if I make that fly, it would be a wonder. It could reach any place in no time." Hearing this, the king was very surprised to know that the magical power of the horse, how it would be if he got that horse for himself. So he, with the condition, "Okay, I would free you today, but within 1 year, you should make the horse fly and then give it to me." Oh, it's exactly what I have been thinking now, that with my abilities of magical power, I can make that horse learn how to fly, and then it would have been easier for the king to own it. So with this promise, he was released and he came home. His wife was still worried, saying, only 1 year is there, how will you make it possible? How will you make the horse fly? Even though the magician knows that it would be very difficult for him to do that, he just took up as a challenge, and he used his common sense to impress upon the king that horse could fly. As days went by, in 6 months' time, the king died, and subsequently in 3 more months, the horse also died. So who is there to ask him about the promise he made at the time of release from the jail? And also, there is no horse to prove to the world that his words were wrong or right. So with the use of common sense and application of his mind, he could escape gallows, he could escape death. My dear friends, in this world, we have so many problems coming in front of us, but we keep worrying about the deadlines, and we keep brooding over the long result that is going to come, instead of living everyday life. So make your life count. Make it very happy every day. Appreciate simple moments and enjoy, being with yourself and being with people. And try to keep helping others. This will definitely take you to places. I remember one more, incident that has happened in one of the kingdoms. That king was not having any child. And so he was worried that there is no prince or princess to take care of the reins of the kingdom after his death. So he thought he would pick up one of the brilliant and brave person from his kingdom to be his heir of kingdom. So he announced to the public that there is one magical door in his kingdom. If you solve the puzzle in the door, you can open the door and then come inside, and that person would be the prince and then the king after my death. So he announced this. So many people from his kingdom came, and then they tried to solve the puzzle which is there on the door. So they were trying to solve the puzzle and then they could not do it. So the days went by and then the crowd started coming down, means slowly it reduced. And then he announced it in the neighboring kingdom also, that anybody could come and then solve the puzzle and open the door. Once you open the door, you would become the prince and then the king subsequently. One young man from the same kingdom was there observing all these things in all these days. And he also came the next when the king was announcing for the neighborhood kingdom people to come. So they also came and then tried and then they failed. Finally, only 4 people were there, and this innocent-looking young man was also part of it. So king asked, "I've been seeing you observing all these things all these days, but you never attempted. Why?" For that, young man said, "I will attempt it in the end once everybody is through." So the remaining 3 people also attempted and they failed. They could not do it, and then they all went. Now the turn of this boy to come and then show whether he would solve the puzzle. And when he came and then did something and the door got opened, the king was so happy, and he asked, everybody was so curious to know how this boy could do it. So this boy was questioned, "How did you solve the puzzle when everybody else failed?" For which he said, "My dear king, I have been observing all the attempts made by everybody. I am sure that many would be very brilliant and they could easily solve the puzzle. When none of them could do it, there is something else in this puzzle than solving it. So I just thought I will just push the door open and then try if it is opening without trying to solve any of the puzzle which is being there on the door. And as I believed it, the door just got opened. That means there is no puzzle actually involved in it. It is just a push that is needed to open the door." My dear friends, the same way, many of the problems in our life we think as problems as beautiful, small, easy solutions. When we start thinking more about the worries, the solution is not coming to our eyes. Moreover, we are expecting things to happen the way we want or we believed. Instead, you accept whatever comes to you as a learning for you and then try to change yourself according to the situation. You will be always blissful and you will spread happiness all around. I hope these 2 stories which I told you really make you think and then apply this in your life to have a change in your approach towards your life. Thank you very much for patiently watching. Bye.